What's going on, guys? Hey, in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how to become financially free. Well, maybe not exactly how to become financially free, but exactly what financial freedom is. And I'm telling you what, if you know what the target is, your chances of hitting it are 100%. So if you want to know exactly how to hit that target, what it is, all the steps that go into it, let's go. Alright guys, hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Logan Manzanares, and I became financially free about 6 months ago, and I'm going to share with you exactly what that actually means, right? What does that mean? Does that mean that you have so much money in the bank? Does it mean that you don't have to work ever again? Does it mean that you just have passive money coming in every single month, whether you work or not? The answer to that one is yes. I'm going to share with you exactly how you know exactly what that number is, so you actually can work your ass off, work hard to know what you're fighting for, and know the right kind of work to make sure that it pays off for you for the rest of your life. So without further ado, let's go. All right, guys, so what is financial freedom? Well, to me, financial freedom is simply being able to not have to work, not have to do anything, and I still have enough money coming in every single month that always pays my expenses. So it pays my mortgage, it pays my car, it pays my groceries, it pays all my bills, right? And so in order to actually know what your financial freedom number is, you must first know what your expenses are, right? You must know what your expenses are. And so that's the first step in this entire process. So I'm actually going to break this video down into two different parts. And so the first piece is actually going to be tracking your expenses, knowing your numbers. Now, this might scare you a little bit. This might make you uncomfortable. You might be like, man, I don't really want to look into my credit cards. I don't really want to look into my bank accounts. You know what? I was that same exact way. You know, we've been doing this for about 3.5 years now. I remember the first time that I decided to actually go look at the truth, right? Look at the truth of my bank statements. Go look at the truth of my credit cards. And I was like, man, this is really uncomfortable. I didn't want to do it whatsoever. And so the first couple times we did it, well, I was a little uncomfortable because you know what? I had to face the reality that I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I wasn't paying attention to my numbers. I wasn't paying attention to my expenses. And all of a sudden I started to see that, you know, a lot of the stuff I was spending money on was dumb. It was silly. It was stupid. It didn't serve my life. So that's the first step of this whole process, actually tracking your expenses. So I'm telling you what, you're gonna have that uncomfortable feeling. If you don't have that right now, well, I'm telling you what, you're gonna have that feeling. So, but at least, you know, you do it, take care of it now, so you actually can set yourself up to actually be successful and to feel good about your expenses and to take action on taking care of your finances. So without further ado, we're gonna dive into the computer. I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do to start tracking your expenses. All right, guys. So the first step is actually to be able to track your expenses. You need a sheet. And so I use Google Sheets. That's the simplest thing. We've been doing it for a long time now. We did it for so long that I actually had to create a whole nother sheet, as you can see here in September, because we did so many sales in here that Google said you maximize your amount of sales. So just a little side note. So this is how we have ours broken down. So we basically have all of our what I call our financial statements. So you as a person has a financial statement, regardless if you have one job and you own no assets, then you have one financial statement. That is basically how much money you bring in and how much money you expend every single month. And so the way I break this down is by different bank accounts and by different entities and businesses. Now you might just have one business, you might have multiple businesses. I'm going to show you like an extreme example of someone like me who has got multiple businesses and show you that, you know, if you just have one business, it becomes really simple, or one financial statement. The more and more you get though, it becomes a little more complicated. So I started out with just by putting our credit card expenses. So if you have any sort of credit cards, make a column for that, right? And then for us, we have our business expenses and we have our business revenue. And so if all you have is your credit card expenses and then you have a job, then put your revenue, which would be your job, right through here, right? And you track that every single week or every 2 weeks or every month, depending on how much you get paid. Now, again, I'm going to show you an extreme example because we have multiple businesses. So we have lots of different businesses, and you'll see that every single business has two line items, or excuse me, not two line items, two categories. We have revenue and expenses, and you'll see this throughout. Every single business has a financial statement, right? And so you as a human being has a financial statement as well, okay? And so that's the first step, getting this sheet set up. The second piece of that is actually going and tracking the data, right? So you go to your credit card. So actually, let's see if I can pull my credit card up here actually real quick. And so you go to your credit card and you basically grab all your expenses from your credit card. Let's see if this works here. I'm doing it live here. You know, what can happen when things go live? Who knows, right? So you go into your credit card and you're going to see how much money I have in credit card debt, which is awesome. And so while this loads, you basically go to, let's actually go to this one right here. Let's go to this credit card, okay? And then you literally just grab your expenses. So if you go back to your expense sheet, you'll see actually categorize these by weeks, right? So you see all these weeks back through here. And so this week is 11/20 through 11/26. So if I were to be able to do that, if I was doing it on this week, I would come through here and I would find all my expenses for these, for this week. So let's go down through here. So right now I only have from 23rd. So I grab all these expenses, 23rd through the 20th, and I grab all these expenses. And then I would just literally copy those and I would put them on the sheet right here, okay? So that'd be the first step. And then I would go to my bank account, which again, I'll pull my bank account here. Shouldn't have any crazy information, but I'll edit it out later. And then you go to the bank account and you literally just grab, so I'll just grab one of my accounts here. I'll just grab this top one here. And then you go through here and do the exact same thing with your bank account, right? So everyone has online banking, you have some sort of way to get into your banking. And so again, if this was 11/20 to 26, I would just grab here, I would grab this through the 22nd. I would just copy all these and I would paste them into this file, and I would separate expenses versus revenue. Okay, and do that for each of your financial statements. Okay, again, if you have one financial statement, it's really simple. If you have multiple, it gets more complicated. But basically, you're going to put all these expenses onto here. Okay, and I'll show you. I'll go back here. I'll show you what one actually looks like for us. So this is one that we did from last week. So you see all our credit card expenses. You see all of our expenses and revenues. And again, we have it for all of our businesses, and we just literally track this every single week. And so this is the first step of tracking your expenses. The next step of this, okay, so this is what you do on a weekly basis. Now, I like to actually look at this more on a monthly basis. So we actually created another sheet. So this, you'll see this Katie and Logan's financial statement. And then we basically post all of our expenses to these, the total expenses to this sheet. So this shows you our monthly expenses. So you can see here June, July, August, September, October, November. The reason I want to show you June is because this was the first month that we actually hit our financial freedom number. And so let me kind of exactly show you exactly what that means. So we actually have our family expenses. We have my expenses, we have my wife's expenses, and then we have, so this is actually BSB's expenses. It should be labeled the same as the business. So BSB Fitness. So that's the business. You see all the expenses right through there, and then you'll see all the properties. You'll see all the expenses all the way through here. Okay. And so here's the cool part though, right? And so at the very bottom, you'll see like these are categorized. So you'll see here like our expenses this month for our personal was $6,728. So this is all. So these we keep separate from the businesses. Like all the businesses have their own financial statements, they have their incomes, and they have their expenses. But us as a family, we have our expenses, right? And so this month we had $6,728 in expenses. So our goal to create financial freedom is what? If you're following at home, it's to be able to create passive income of at least $6,728, which means that like all of our expenses are covered. And they're covered by our real estate income, which means that we don't have to work for our real estate income. Like it comes in month in, month out. Of course, there's always like little things we have to do with it, but for the most part, like it is the most consistent income we'll ever get in our entire lives, right? It basically means that if we don't go to work, if something happens and we get sick, like that money still comes in regardless if we do our businesses, if we go to work, if we do any of that stuff, okay? So that's why financial freedom is so important, okay? And so let me go down here and let me show you. So we go down here and we actually have each of our, if you come down here, you'll see each of our businesses. We have it set up. Each of our financial statements, you'll see expenses, revenues, you'll see cash flow. And so our goal here was to create enough cash flow. So this is cash flow, right? So this cash flow is just from our real estate. We don't include our businesses in here. This is just from real estate. This month we created $89.40 in passive income, right? And our personal expenses were $6,728, which means that we hit financial freedom by $2,000, which means that, again, we didn't have to work in order to cover our expenses. And this, my friends, was what financial freedom was when we hit it our first time back in June. And so this is what it looks like. Hopefully this really helps you out. Hopefully you get a better understanding of what it looks like. You don't have to do your sheet exactly like mine. I'm just showing you an example. You should actually create your own sheet and know what it looks like. But this sheet is really cool because it literally just gives you the numbers you need to hit and shows you where you're at. And so you can start to say, okay, I need another $1,000 of passive income in order for me to actually hit my goal of becoming financially free. Okay. And so now we're going to go into section 2 of this, is actually figuring out, what your financial freedom number is. I'm telling you what, this is just the first step. This is the first step of financial freedom. I'm gonna show you the next step, which actually gets even more fun. And it's the part that no one ever talks about when it comes to financial freedom. So if you like this video though, please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. And you know what? Follow and then watch my next video where I'm gonna show you when you create financial freedom, what is the next step after that. So without further ado, my name is Logan Manzanares, and I'm out.